Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about Despia in a more pure form. Meaning we're not throwing in any other archetypes, per se. Maybe just a few little things to help the engine run a little bit better. But it's mostly just the Despia slash branded slash Fallen Volbaz archetype, which is kind of one thing. So yeah, it's Despia Fallen Volbaz. So, how does the deck function? Well, real quick, it's centered around fusion summoning out Q, as well as having protection with the field spell and branded opening. We also have access to other such things, like the Link monsters, but we don't really have anything too great as an end board, so instead we're trying to prevent our opponent from playing the game as much as possible with hand traps. Namely, Gamma, Ash Blossom, Nibiru, and Max C. We also have Super Polymerization. It's just a very good card, and yeah, it fits really well with the archetype. So, let's do the card by card. So, first of all, we are running, of course, the two Gamma, one Driver, triple Max C, triple Ash Blossom, and one Nibiru for our hand traps. Realistically, I think the Gamma should be switched out for Effect Veiler, but as you can see, I don't have enough for 3 Effect Veiler, so yeah, I'm not doing that. But yeah, that's the only thing that I would really change with the hand trap lineup. Maybe add another Nibiru. It comes up where I kind of want another one fairly often. But anyway, moving on, we are playing triple Tragedy for the Despia cards, triple Aluber, triple Branded Opening, and double Despia Theater, as well as double Dramaturg. So yeah, pretty much standard. The only things that are of note is we're playing multiple of the Dramaturg. We're playing an extra Aluber as well as an extra Branded Opening from other variations of the deck, and the reason for that is just because we want more names and more specifically more fairies. So yeah, that's why we're running those. We are also playing triple Fallen of Volbaz. This card's crazy, really good. It's just like a normal summonable super poly. Sometimes it can be a little bit dead, but it does allow you to go into things like Titaniclad, as well as the Albion branded dragon, which is both of them are very good. Albion allows you to fusion summon again by banishing monsters from the grave, which is absolutely crazy. And then Titaniclad's just big most of the time. We also have a few of the other branded, Fallen of Volbaz fusion monsters. He's okay. Again, we're running him at 3 because this is more of a pure version. I didn't want to incorporate anything else, and you kind of need him, at least as something. So, we are also playing triple Diviner of Herald. However, we're not playing things like Trios or Ava or anything like that, but we are playing Entis in the extra deck. The main reason for this card is because of its interaction with Loa. Loa is technically not part of any archetype, but it fits extremely well with specifically the Despia cards, and Diviner of Herald. So, what Diviner can do in this is, you can normal summon it, you can send Tragedy to the graveyard. Tragedy's effect will activate, allowing you to add an Aluber or a Dramaturg or whatever it is that you might need. And then Loa, what it does is when the effect of a fairy monster is activated, you can special summon it from the hand. So you normal summon out Diviner, and then you special summon out Loa. Now you might be saying, well, why aren't we playing 3? Because it's kind of a brick. It doesn't do anything on its own. It requires setup, so it's nice to have on the field, but you don't want to see it all the time. It's very similar to something like Dramaturg, where it's like, yeah, you want to see it, but not all the time. Now, with that being said, I do think you could play 3 and it would be fine. I just prefer to play 2. It's nice, specifically with Diviner, because you send Diviner, or you do the Diviner combo and then you get this free special summon. You could also normal summon Aluber and get this guy onto the field, which is very nice, but it's not the greatest. Also, side note, if you do Diviner send Tragedy, special summon out Loa, you can actually go right into Baron. Baron is a level 10. That's 10 levels, because Herald will be level 3, and then Loa will be level 7, making a 10. Very, very cool. Cool little combo. So that's why we're playing Baron. Other things to note, this card does have an effect on the field. This one. You can target a monster you control, sorry. Yeah, you can target a monster you control that is in face-up attack position, and a face-up card your opponent controls. Change the battle position of your face-up monster and banish the other card. Absolutely crazy, because it does say face-up card, meaning if there's like a floodgate that your opponent has, you could just banish with this guy. If there's a big monster your opponent has, you just banish. There's a myriad of ways to deal with things. So, very, very cool card. Not the greatest, but very cool, nonetheless. It's only 24-21 as well. Moving on, we are playing the Edge Imp Chain Fright for Patchwork combo or extension. So basically, what Fright for Patchwork does is it adds a polymerization as well as Edge Imp Chain to your hand. The reason that this is important is because 1, it grabs polymerization, and 2, it gives us a dark. That's it. It just gives us a dark monster that we can use to fusion summon with, as well as a way to fusion summon without needing theater. So if your theater gets destroyed or negated, or you can't search it because your Aluber was negated, you can activate the Fright for Patchwork and, go searching. Also, this is an Ash Blossom magnet. You slap this down before slapping down your Branded Opening or your Aluber or what have you. All of a sudden, your opponent goes, I must negate. That's 2 free cards. And then this does get negated, but you actually can just do your combo from there. So, very nice. We're also playing 2 Edge Imp Chain and 2 Polymerization because you need to be able to search out both. And they are kind of bricks. They're not hard bricks, though, because you can still use them to either, like, discard cards or just, fusion off with them. So, it's not the worst, but you need to see if you see this card, you have to see, or you have to add both of them to your hand. So that's why we're playing 2, in case we end up drawing 1. We can still see, the other one, and this could still go through. Also, if this is sent to the graveyard, you can add another Fright for Patchwork, which is really nice, which means, if you activate this, sending, fusion summoning with Edge Imp Chain, with the polymerization, you can then activate a second one on the next turn to search out the other 2, which is very, very cool. As for the extra deck, I had already mentioned we are playing Entis, just a very good card to send off of Herald. You just pop a card. Yeah, pretty cool. Moving on, we are playing 1 Titaniclad. We are playing 1 Bringrand? I don't know. We are playing 1 Sprined, 1 Albion for our Fallen Volbaz targets. So, yeah. Mostly, we're just going into these 2. These 2 are kind of corner cases, so I'm not going to explain them. We are playing 2 Despia Q. I just pulled the second one, so in most of the replays, I'm actually only playing 1, but definitely play 2. It's way, way better, at least in the pure version. Most of the time, you don't need to in any of the other versions, but yeah, playing 2 in this version is very important. We're playing 1 Proskenion. Didn't really want to cut anything else. We originally had 2 of this, but in all honesty, you barely need 1. This card comes up occasionally, but yeah, very, very solid. This card floats, this card does not. So that's why we want this guy over this one. That's mainly the reason. We're playing 1 Omega for in case we go into Gamma or something like that. You could also make it off of Herald and like send a level... No, you can't do that. Never mind, I don't know. You could send a 7, and then, if you had Tragedy on the field, you could go for this. I guess that's one way to do it. There's no real other way, but yeah, it's mostly because of Gamma. We are playing Baron, as I had previously mentioned, because we can get to it with Loa and Diviner. The reason we don't use Diviner, send Entis, and then have an Aluber on the field, well, you can do that, because that would make Diviner 6, and then you could just have Aluber or Fallen Volbaz. The reason I didn't really bring that up is because Branded Opening locks you into fusions, so you'd have to have either, Aluber or Fallen Volbaz already on the field, and then normal summon Diviner in order for that to work. You could potentially also have a Dramaturg already on the field, and then normal summon a Diviner and not use its effect. So, most of the time you're just going to use it with Loa. Moving on, we also have a rank 8 and a Hope Harbinger. We're not playing Zeus, no extra deck space for it. We are playing 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Appaloosa, and 1 Access Code. If you want to take out 2 cards, take out these 2. There you go. That way you don't die to DD Dynamite Burn. So, let's hop into the decks, or to the replays, and see how the deck performs. Before we hop into the duels, let me just say that over 80% of the people who watch my content aren't subscribed. So if you find yourself coming back on the regular, you can always subscribe. And if you end up finding that you don't like the content anymore, you can always unsubscribe later. It's free, it's fun, and it allows me to continue making content for you guys on the daily. So if you like the content, consider subscribing. Anyway, let's hop into the duels. Alright, so here we are with our first duel, and wow, this hand is terrible, isn't it? We did draw Fright for Patchwork, which it's a good thing that we're playing double polymerization, because otherwise we'd be screwed. Alright, we are playing up against Virtual World. I'm just going to fire off my Maxi here, and they chain E-Telly. Okay, they're going to get a free special. I'm kind of upset about this, but not too terribly upset. Yeah, our Maxi is going to activate. They're going to activate their Chuche. Then they are going to target with their Lao Lao the Chuche that they had just set. I'm going to Gamma this. Reason being, if they don't have another Virtual World name, this stops them dead in their tracks. And given the fact that they chained that E-Telly, I don't know if they do. But also because of E-Telly, this card's going to go away at the end of the phase, or at end phase. So I'm like, let's fire off this Gamma, hope that they don't have another name, because if they don't, then great. But if they do, I just lose. Turns out they didn't. Everything gets banished. Coolio. I draw into Edge Chain, which is not the greatest, but at least we're not going to be drawing into it anytime soon. So I'm just going to set it and pass. There's not a lot I can do. Yeah, we're just going to set and pass. They're going to activate their Chixiao, or Zhuanwu, sorry. They're going to activate their Zhuanwu, and now they have the two traps. But now this card is activatable, which just allows them to switch the battle position. But we draw into Tragedy, which is huge for us. So I'm going to activate my polymerization that we had in hand to go for Despia Q. Tragedy is going to activate in order to search out one of our monsters, as well as we are going to chain Edge Imp Chain. So Chain is going to search out our Fright for Patchwork here, which is now dead, but it is a nice solid discard fodder. And then we are going to search out Aluber. Aluber effect is going to activate. We are going to search out Branded Opening. Reason I go for Branded Opening here is because, one, we don't really need the fusion spell, seeing as how, again, I only had the one Q, which would have been nice if we could have gone for Theater. But, more importantly, Branded Opening allows us to get to Dramaturg, which allows us to negate a monster that is, when a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, and it protects our Q. So that just seemed like the best call to me. I can deal a lot of damage here. Well, not as much, but we can at least deal some damage, as well as just having protection with the Branded Opening. I'm more concerned about keeping this guy around than potentially fusion summoning for something else. And then we also can go for the IP Masquerena. Now, I actually fire the Branded Opening here. And you may be like, why not set it so that you could do it on the opponent's turn? Here's why. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters. So, if we were, for example, going to link off into IP Masquerena, we wouldn't be able to do that if we had activated our Branded Opening that turn. So, we activate it now, locking us into fusion monsters, but allowing us to, on the opponent's turn, use this IP Masquerena to go into into Unicorn, sending this polymerization to the grave and spinning a card. Turns out, they just scoop it up, realizing exactly that we can do that, and they surrender. Alright, so here we are in game number 2, and this was one of the games where I was playing Albion. I don't like this card. I think it's fine. It can sometimes special summon itself. It does draw you a card sometimes, but in all reality, it's almost never worth it. But we're going to see that they are playing Prank Kids, so I'm going to fire off my Maxi and end their turn right there. We draw Gamma. Interesting. I'm going to fire off this Branded Opening here, and the reason I do this instead of activating something like Albion or what have you is because of the fact that we had this Gamma in hand. I was hoping they would they would Ash Blossom us, or that they might have had Ash Blossom, and I would have been able to Gamma them there. But in all honesty, it's still the best play for us because we are able to search out our Despia Theater. I'm going to activate the Albion here to tuck it back into the deck by sending our Branded in White to the grave. I was also playing this card. I took him out very quickly. But yeah, we are going to activate our Despia Theater here to go and fusion summon into Q using Tragedy and Aluber, sorry. Tragedy is going to activate. We're going to search out the Aluber because we want it for follow-up. We don't really have the best of follow-up at the moment, but we do have Ash Blossom and Gamma if this guy does end up getting cleared. So, a fairly decent hand. The Ash Blossom will be very nice here. They're going to go into another Lampsies to go for Meow Moo here. They're going to activate the Lampsies, and I'm going to Ash Blossom, to which they respond with a Called by the Grave. Ah! Hurts. Not a lot you can do about that. Even if I were to have this Gamma live, it wouldn't have done anything. So, alright, there you go. Our Ash Blossom gets negated. They are going to go for Lampsies here, and I'm going to speed this up. If you know how prank kids work, you should know this takes a while. So they're going to just keep chaining things. They're going to search out a Pandemonium here. I believe it's Pandemonium. Yeah, they search out the Pandemonium, and then they special summon, as well as send the place to the grave. They're going to special summon out Roxy's. Then they are going to go for Pandemonium to go for Rocket Ride. They are going to Chainlink 1 Chainlink 1 Dropsies, Chainlink 2 Roxy's, and Chainlink 3 Rocket Ride. The reason that they are doing this card can technically attack directly if it uses this effect on summon. It loses 1,000 attack for doing that, but that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it to chain block. So, Roxy's is going to banish a card to draw a card. They're going to special summon out Dropsies. Dropsies is going to give them 1,000 life points, and then special summon out Fansies. They're going to tribute off their monster in order to go for their Rocket Ride to go for 2 more of the Prank Kids. They're going to link 2 into Bower Bark. They are going to then activate Cockadoodle-Doo Cockadoodle-Doo, I don't know, to go for the fusion, to go for their Pandemonium. Anyway, doesn't really matter. They end up going into Rip Roar and Battle Butler, which is Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster. So they are going to Harpy's Feather Duster us, and then walk into our monster. Aluber is going to activate. We are going to negate the effect of the Battle Butler, which literally does nothing. But, funnily enough, it does end up mattering that we special summon back this Aluber, because we are going to go for a Despia Theater here, which we drew off the top. I'm going to then normal summon this Aluber, and he is going to Raigeki our board by banishing his Meow Moo. Yeah, so, or Meow Meow. So, both of our Alubers are going to get popped, but we will end up searching out the branded opening. I'm going to activate my effect for the special summon of our Q. So, Q comes out here. And they are going to, once again, chain their Raigeki, pop our entire field, and Q is going to float into Dramaturg. Then Tragedy's effect is going to activate. We are going to set this branded opening onto our side of the field, and then just proceed to battle, deal 3k, and pass the turn from there. You may be wondering why I didn't try to, activate our branded opening that we had in hand by discarding this Gamma, and the reason is, the only thing I could get is Tragedy. I guess I technically could have gone Aluber, but since I'd already activated the effect, that doesn't really do anything. We've already we haven't actually already fusion summoned, but if we were to have pitched the Gamma, again, I only have the 1 Q, we wouldn't have access to any of our other monsters, so in all reality, there's no real point in doing that. We'll just go to the battle and attack them. So they are going to banish the Thunder Dragon Fusion to search out the Fansies. They're going to normal summon that guy and then go into a Meow Moo. Fansies effect is going to send a place, then special summon out the the Lampsies. They will go for Doodle-Doo and then activate Dropsies and Doodle-Doo in sequence. Doodle-Doo will search out Pranks. Pretty nice. And then Lampsies effect will burn, and then Dropsies will be special summoned. They are going to recycle 2 cards. Add it to the hand 2 cards. They will add Place as well as the Battle Butler. Then they will search out one of their cards, or one of their monsters, and then go for Pandemonium into Rocket Ride. They will special summon out 2 monsters, as well as draw cards, as well as activate Place, which allows them to boost up their monster by 500. So, their monster is now 2,500. They're going to banish the Nibiru to special summon out then special summon out Dropsies and Lampsies. They're then going to special summon out the Bower Bark as well as the Fansies. Then they will go for the Battle Butler once again. I'm going to activate the Dramaturg here to negate the effect of the Battle Butler, to which they will immediately respond and destroy our Dramaturg. Guess what? Theater is still on the field, so Theater allows us to bring back Q here. Q into defense. They are going to activate their Prank Kids Place and proceed to the end phase. During the end phase, I'm going to pitch my other branded opening to go for Tragedy here. So now we have at least 3 materials to go for a fusion summon of Proskenion. We draw Ash Blossom here, which is pretty nice. I'm going to immediately activate Q's effect here and then proceed to the Fusion Summon. We're going to use the Gamma in hand to go for our Proskenion. They are then going to activate their Bower Bark in order to shuffle back or add to the hand 2 cards. Or is it add? Yeah. So they're going to add the Pandemonium as well as one of their Prank Kids. Now, notably, they're kind of running low on Prank Kids. They have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Prank Kids already in rotation out of a possible 12. We also know the 10th is in hand, so they're kind of running low, and oftentimes people only run the 2 Roxys, so they might even have only 11 of their Prank Kids. Not a lot for them to go on. They're going to activate Imperm on our Proskenion, and guess what? Proskenion is a quick effect. So I'm going to quick effect target their Rocket Ride and yoink it. I was originally going to banish it, but it turns out I can yoink it, and now it's mine. And this is lethal on board, and I think they realize this, and they just pass the turn. Or, sorry, not pass the turn. They surrender. So, good game. Alright, so here we are going second with double Gamma in hand. Kind of funny. And Cyber Emergency. Ah! You love to see it. Drytrons. 10 out of 10. They're going to activate Thurabane. They are going to tribute off Natasha, and I realize at this point, they have 2 cards in hand. Is there a chance that it is another Drytron name and something to tribute? They set their card first for some reason. I don't know why they did this. Realistically, if they had this last card in hand, I might not have activated Gamma here. And they might have been able to get a lot more advantage off of me. But I do activate it here because they only have the 3 cards in hand. And Thurabane getting destroyed and negated means that they would need really, really solid cards in their hand. Another Drytron name, as well as something like a Ben 10. But seeing as how they didn't immediately tribute off a Ben 10, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm safe just Gamma-ing this. So, I do. And we have 2 Diviner of Herald and Dramaturg, and we draw Branded Opening, which is so very nice. I'm going to immediately activate this Diviner of Herald, and I was going to pitch the Entis, but turns out they have Forbidden Droplets. They send Meteonis to the grave, and I'm like, oh wow, this is really easy for us. So, we are going to activate our Branded Opening, pitching this Gamma that is now useless, and we are going to go for Albion here. Albion is going to search for Theater. Theater is going to activate. We are going to Fusion Summon for 2. We are going to go for Q here. And the reason I don't use the Diviner here is because I want Aluber in the grave, as well as I want to use Dramaturg. So, Dramaturg is going to special summon itself back, and at this point, we're just going to go to the battle phase and deal a whole bunch of damage. At this point, there's not a lot that Drytron can do, and they immediately scoop it up. Alright, so we're back with the deck, and in all honesty, I think this deck is pretty good. It's only going to get better from here as well, because we are missing quite a few of the Fallen Volbas as well as the Despia fusions, so that's just going to make it even easier. We're also missing Branded in Red, which is a quick play fusion spell, which will make the deck even more consistent, as well as even more powerful. And in all honesty, eventually, the Branded fusion style of deck will be way more powerful than any of the other variants of the deck. So do keep that in mind when playing this. It's only going to get better from here. I don't know when the next update will come, but with that will be a massive change to the meta. This one was a smaller difference to the meta. Things like Adamancipator just got stronger due to Baron, but nothing really changed. But as soon as DPE shows up, as well as the Adventure Engine, things will change drastically. And if we also get Branded Fusion with that, potentially we could have a Tier 1 strategy with Despia. But all in all, this strategy is still good. I think Dark Lords are actually a little bit better, and then the Invoked Dogmatica version as well is even stronger than the Dark Lord version. The major problem with this is it's not as powerful at the higher ends. Q is nice, not great though. There's not really a very solid boss monster that you can go for, or a consistent way to get out a lot of monsters to go for, you know, potential link monsters such as Apollosa or Access Code. But it's not terrible. It still competes, and I definitely think you could get to Plat 1 with this deck. You know, change out the Gamma, go for the Effect Failure or something like that. Although, to be fair, I do think Gamma's very nice as well. Just a very solid card overall. And yeah, all in all, I like the deck. I think it's very fun. I love the addition of Fright for Patchwork as basically Ash Blossom bait. And all in all, I I would recommend playing this. So that's it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.